오델, 오데가노.
나 전 세계에서 하나밖에 없는 유엔 기념공원 간다. Hello everyone, this is Jimmy. I'm BFM's travel reporter. And this program guides you through easily accessible tourist destinations using public transportation. And guess where I'm standing? I'm standing right in front of the Tourist Information Center here in Gwangalli, and right across from this street, there is a beautiful Gwangan beach. Woo! And today's destination is the United Nations Memorial Cemetery. 바로 유엔기념공원이죠. And this place is very, very meaningful and special because it's the world's sole cemetery by United Nations. And where all these, fallen souls during Korean War are resting. So this is the one and only place which is located here in Busan. So that's why I would love to introduce this place and go there with you guys. So shall we go? Let's go!
오데가노.
I just came straight up from this street from the beach, and it took me about 2-3 minutes. And guess what? The bus stop is right there.
오데가노.
I'm standing right in front of the bus stop, and this bus stop is in front of this Vorteng car company. And today it's really easy. You can just either take bus number 41 or 42, but first we're gonna go to Kyungsung Kyungsung University bus stop. It will probably take a couple stops, and then we're gonna transfer from there. So first, let's just get either one of these bus. So let's just wait here.
오데가노.
I'm on the bus now. I'll see you at Kyungsung University bus stop.
오데가노.
Alright, I just got off at Kyungsung University bus stop. I just took bus number 41, but then you can also take bus number 42 as well. And then from here, we actually have to transfer to the village bus, Namgu number 10, but then you cannot take it from here. You have to actually cross the road. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go that way, and then I'm gonna cross the street, and then I'll take village bus number 10 from there. Alright, see you there.
오데가노.
Alright, I'm on the other side now. We're just gonna take the village bus Namgu number 10, and then from here we're gonna go all the way to 유엔평화공원, and then from there it's about a 5-minute walk. So I'm just gonna wait to take Namgu bus number 10 bus, and then I'll see you there.
오데가노.
Alright, I just got off from the bus. I'm here at 유엔기념공원 and Busan 문화회관 bus stop. And right across from this street, there is today's destination, United Nations Memorial Cemetery. So what we can do is we're gonna go across the street and then we're gonna go there. So I'll see you there. Let's go.
오데가노.
Alright, I arrived here at the United Nations Memorial Cemetery, and the entrance fee is free of charge. But there are certain rules that you need to keep and follow. First, you're not supposed to wear any sportswear such as sweatsuits. And then for the shoes, you're not supposed to wear any kind of slippers or sandals that shows your bare feet. And also, you're not supposed to bring any food. So be aware of that. You have to keep that in your mind. And then please quietly look around to show some respect to fallen soldiers.
오데가노.
Okay, I'm standing right in the middle of the UN Memorial Cemetery, and the wall right there, as you can see, that's the UN Forces Monument. And I would love to explain everything about this place, but as you know, I'm not an expert, so I will meet up with a very special guest, and he will definitely explain briefly about what visitors should not miss and check out when you visit this place. So let's go.
오데가노.
All right, I'm standing right in front of the UN Forces Monument here, and I have somebody who's very, very special here. So, may I ask you to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm John Bosque, and I work as the Director of International Affairs here at the UN Memorial Cemetery. From the United States. I've been living in Korea for about 25 years or so.
Wow. So, yeah, we have a very, very special person here. So, can you briefly provide us some background information about the establishment of the United Nations memorial cemetery here?
During the Korean War, at the height of the fighting, prior to its creation, there had been a few cemeteries created by the UN command in what's now North Korea. But when the battle lines moved south again, those had to be abandoned or moved. So this became the only UN command cemetery.
Why is this United Nations Memorial Cemetery in Busan especially very unique and significant here?
Well, I think it's unique for at least a couple of reasons. One, just because of a unique circumstance of history, it became the only United Nations cemetery in the world, and there's not likely to be another one. It was the only time the United Nations fought as a combatant in a war. It's very unlikely that would ever happen again, or there would be a need for a UN cemetery.
So could you give us any notable monuments or memorials or facilities within this United Nations Memorial Cemetery that visitors must see, which means should not be missed?
There are so many, and I was thinking about this question. I would say certainly the first one that comes to mind is not far from here. It's called the Wall of Remembrance, and that's a very large black marble memorial that records the names of all of the UN soldiers who died, and it's a very beautiful memorial, which I'd be happy to show you. Over the years, many of the nations have installed their own national monuments, so it's quite interesting just to walk around the cemetery and see them. There are too many to mention, but there's one actually that I wanted to mention in particular. There's a quilt. It's actually a quilt that honors the Australians who died in the war. It's called the Australian Honor Roll quilt, and the reason I mention it is, one, it's because it's often overlooked. It's in a part of the cemetery that people aren't as familiar with, and I'll be showing that to you as well.
오데가노.
So this is the quilt. As I mentioned, it was commissioned by Miss Alwyn Green, and it was handmade by a team of quilters that she assembled and organized. And what it shows is, the top part shows like a topographical map of the Gapyeong Valley, and this was the scene of a very significant battle where the Australians fought alongside Canadians, New Zealanders, and Americans in what was in the big picture, it was a small but what turned out to be a very significant battle, which stopped the Chinese, what was called the Spring Offensive. It was their last major attempt to capture Seoul again, which failed because of the heroic stand made by the Australians and the Canadians and the Kiwis. The middle part is the musical notation of the last post, which you might recall if you've ever seen like a commemoration by the Commonwealth nations especially. They play the last post at military funerals and commemorations.
오데가노.
All right, we are standing right in front of the Wall of Remembrance, and then it's here. So, Mr. Bosque, could you please give a few words about this place itself?
Sure. The wall was built in 2006 with support of the Korean national government, and it records the names of the 40,896 UN forces who died in the Korean War. As you know, the Korean casualties also were many times greater and are recorded in Seoul at the War Memorial. This was to honor the UN forces in particular, and there's also some symbolism in the design. There are 22 jets of water to represent the 22 sending states who sent combat personnel or medical personnel.
Right.
There's the flame, which burns in honor of the fallen and reminds us to continue to remember them and their sacrifice.
오데가노.
All right, we just had an interview with Mr. John Bosque, and then is there any kind of few last words that you would like to say?
Sure, I'd just like to encourage anyone who's planning to visit Busan to put the UN cemetery on your itinerary. It's well worth a visit, and not just for the interesting history. It's a very beautiful setting, and it's another side of Busan that is really quite different and quite unique. And I really encourage you to visit us here or online if you're unable to be here in person.
Thank you. Wow. So guys, once you're here in Busan, make sure to come and visit the United Nations Memorial Cemetery. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Bosque.
It was a pleasure.
오데가노.
All right, we just heard so many informations from Mr. Bosque, and then we also looked around several different spots. But there is another place that I would highly recommend you guys to go and check it out and visit, which is UNPMGwan은. So that's pretty much probably 10-minute walk. So I will recommend you guys to go and visit there. The UN Peace Memorial Hall, 유엔평화기념관이죠, which is located in Namgu, Busan, is the only museum in the world built to honor UN-wearing nations and veterans who sacrificed themselves to protect the freedom of Republic of Korea during the Korean War. In the planning exhibition room of the United Nations Peace Memorial Hall, visitors can see the special theme exhibition from various perspectives. In the Korean War Office, visitors can view the situation from the start of the war to the armistice agreement on July 27, 1953, focusing on the relationship between the Korean War and the UN through relics and images. The UN Peace Memorial Hall runs from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. from Tuesday to Sunday, and group viewing and commentary applications are also available. So, I highly recommend you guys to go and visit this place and check everything out.
오데가노.
여러분, 저와 함께한 유엔 기념공원 나들이 어떠셨나요? Aside from what we've just looked around and then showed you, there are so many other places for you to check it out. So make sure to come and visit this UN Memorial Cemetery once you get a chance to visit here in Busan. 그나저나 또 다음 에피소드는 오데가노.
오데가노.
Oder Oregano is sponsored by Busan Metropolitan City. Oder Oregano는 부산광역시 지역방송 발전 지원 사업 자금으로 제작되었음을 알려드립니다.